Breaking news. The American invasion of Venezuela is underway right now. Around 2 a.m., multiple missiles struck the capital of Venezuela, including fighter jets roaring over the skies. At least 10 explosions hit the capital city. Transport helicopters moving U.S. soldiers around the country right now. And a U.S. helicopter hitting an Air Force base. Venezuela has deployed multiple armored fighting vehicles around the presidential palace. Moreover, U.S. military helicopter firing a missile at a ground target, which is verifying a resistance. Fox News is reporting that military and civilian targets have been hit. Maduro survived the initial attack and has ordered a full mobilization of the Venezuelan people. Follow White News.
2 a.m. local time, explosions in Venezuela's capital, Caracas, and nearby areas.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
The U.S. president ordering the attacks.
It was an assault like people have not seen since World War II.
Donald Trump keeping a close eye on the operation from his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida.
And I watched it literally like I was watching a television show.
And stunningly revealing Venezuela's dictator, Nicolás Maduro, had been captured by an elite army strike team known as Delta Force.
He was trying to get to a safe place, which wasn't safe because we would have had the door blown up.
With Maduro gone, there was a state of emergency declared as the world watched.
What I can say is that the UK was not involved in any way in this operation.
No statement from Maduro, but state television read one from the government.
República Bolivariana de Venezuela.
The US strikes branded as very serious, grave military aggression, and ordinary citizens were called up to protect the nation. Venezuela's government said the objective of this attack is none other than to Venezuela strategic resources. In other words, oil.
We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country.
Hours earlier, Maduro had suggested he was open to talks with the Trump administration. There have been months of tensions.
He doesn't want to around with the United States.
Strikes on boats suspected of trafficking drugs from Venezuela towards America, and as American military might built up in the Caribbean, Maduro was defiant.
Not war! Not war!
Then came seizures of oil tankers.
Nicolás Maduro had multiple opportunities to avoid this.
Now, Maduro and his wife on a US battleship en route to New York City, where the Justice Department has filed an indictment. He's facing charges including narcoterrorism and cocaine importation conspiracy.
Maduro and his wife will soon face the full might of American justice and stand trial on American soil.
Breaking news this morning. The United States strikes Venezuela. President Trump orders military strikes on the capital and says Venezuela's president and his wife are now in U.S. custody. The U.S. conducted airstrikes in Venezuela overnight, targeting military bases and at least one port.
And in a post on Truth Social, President Trump says Venezuela's president, Nicolás Maduro, and his wife have been captured and flown out of the country. The president adding that the operation was carried out with the help of U.S. law enforcement.
U.S. officials tell CBS News that Maduro was captured by the U.S. military's elite Delta Force. President Trump on social media early this morning confirmed what he called a large-scale and successful strike.
Videos posted to social media show the scenes from Venezuela as explosions were reported at 2 a.m. local time in the capital of Caracas. U.S. officials tell CBS News President Trump ordered strikes on sites inside the country early Saturday morning, including military facilities. In a statement, the Venezuelan government said it, quote, repudiates and denounces to the international community the very serious military aggression by the U.S. government. Ahead of the strikes, President Nicolás Maduro told state TV he's open to talking to the U.S. on drug trafficking, oil, and migration issues. The Trump administration has accused Maduro of being aligned with drug cartels and gangs designated by the U.S. as terrorist organizations. The Trump administration has spent months ramping up pressure on the Maduro regime. Last month, President Trump ordered a blockade of sanctioned oil tankers entering and leaving Venezuela. The massive military buildup of 15,000 American troops in the Caribbean includes 11 Navy ships led by the USS Gerald R. Ford, the world's largest aircraft carrier. Marines aboard the USS Iwo Jima have been conducting live fire exercises, and stealth fighter jets have been deployed to Puerto Rico. On Monday, President Trump confirmed the first known U.S. strike inside Venezuela, saying an alleged drug-related site was targeted.
They load the boats up with drugs, so we hit all the boats, and now we hit the area.
But he did not confirm reports that the CIA carried out that strike.
Well, I don't want to say that. I know exactly who it was, but I don't want to say who it was.
This week, there were also more deadly strikes on alleged drug boats off the coast of Venezuela. That brought the total to more than 30 strikes on vessels, killing at least 115. For weeks, Democratic lawmakers and even some Republicans have questioned the strategy.
It's a completely made up and false sense that we're at war, we can do whatever we want, but if Congress wants to vote on it, no, we're not at war.
And lawmakers on Capitol Hill, even allies of the president, have said they want more information from the administration about what comes next and the end game. Senator Mike Lee of Utah New this morning on social media posted that he had a conversation with Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who told him Maduro was arrested to stand trial on criminal charges in the United States and that the military action was deployed to protect and defend those executing the arrest warrant overnight. We are expecting to hear many more details from the president himself. A news conference is scheduled for 11 a.m. Eastern at Mar-a-Lago.
In the capital of late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolás Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, we've done some other good ones, like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently in an operation known as Midnight Hammer. All perfectly executed and done.
Launching a strike on a sovereign country, taking political control and snatching its leader. Tony, hasn't the United States learned lessons about so-called liberation from the past before?
Yeah, this is going to be something that's difficult to do regarding the peaceful transition of a new government. Right now, the opposition leader, Maria Machado, stated about 5 hours ago that she feels this is liberation. There are some places that believe that this is the best thing for the people of Venezuela to move forward. But to your point, we did this before. People tend to forget, but we did this in something called Operation Just Cause in 1989, where we invaded Panama, an actual invasion of the entire country, to remove Manuel Noriega. Noriega was removed and tried and also spent something like 30 years in prison. So we have done this before. This is not the first time, but the path forward is going to be one that's going to be a challenge to make sure that things go correctly.
Tony, things like this are not done on a whim. So what sort of planning actually goes into pulling off a strike, particularly of this size?
So the technical term for this is a rendition, extraordinary rendition. It's when the military, using our tiered operations forces, that is the correct term for Joint Special Operations Command, goes in to support law enforcement. This was technically a law enforcement operation augmented by the U.S. Special Forces. And we used more than Delta. There's units which are even more secret than Delta that were involved. That's why the intelligence was so granular and effective. we knew down to how doors opened and closed, what direction they swung, and what Maduro had for dinner and everything. So this took months to plan. We, United States military, rehearsed a lot. That's why it was so effective. With that said, the military planning and strategy that went into this will be studied. This was a use of military force to establish and move forward with President Trump's objectives of bringing Venezuela to the international community without Maduro in charge.
Well, Tony, as you just touched upon there, you know, the Trump administration, I guess, on the front foot here, saying this is essentially trying to take down a dictator and this is all about narco-terrorism. However, how important is oil in all of this?
Oil has been something of a target from the beginning. As you know, President Trump, started targeting the illegal shipments of oil. We're going after tankers. We're going after the shadow fleet. This isn't just about Venezuela. This is about Iran, China, and Russia. One of the things that's been kind of lost in the noise is Russia was part of this movement of illegal oil, and they were making all their money off this illegal shipment. So disrupting that was important, and the effects of that will go on well beyond our actions in Venezuela. But regarding Venezuela, Venezuela was not properly using the proceeds from sales of that oil for its people. That's why the people were poor. I know several Venezuelans who had their property seized by Maduro. And I think that's why President Trump chose to act. Is it about oil? Absolutely. Will everybody profit? I'd like to believe so once everything is established to have a new government in place.
You say new government, but the plan at the moment, Tony, is that the vice president of the sitting government will take over. But she's come out and said that Venezuela won't become a colony of the United States. The opposition leader is saying this is liberation, but at this stage it doesn't look like she's going to step in and take charge. So is there actually a plan here for a transition of power?
There's been negotiations with a number of groups behind the scenes for about 2 months. The question becomes, obviously, which one can establish the most credibility with the Venezuelan people. There was one rumor, I saw Reuters report that the vice president, or now president, had left to go to Russia. So there's a lot of chaos right now. I think it's going to take about 2 days to sort things through. But and by the way, President Trump said that Maria Machado would not be the one taking power.
Libre y soberano. Que viva Venezuela libre, camarada. Que viva Venezuela de los patriotas, la Venezuela revolucionaria, la Venezuela de Chávez y la Venezuela de nuestro hermano presidente Nicolás Maduro Moro, camarada. Y ya que las instituciones internacionales dejen de ser alcahuetes y se hagan un pronunciamiento real, porque están masacrando un pueblo que lo que ha querido justicia, un pueblo que ha luchado por una vivienda digna, un pueblo que ha ayudado por la alimentación, cuando nos quitaron todo lo de nuestros hijos. Hoy en día le decimos a esas instituciones internacionales que se pronuncian, porque ese gobierno norteamericano no es la policía del mundo y los venezolanos lo vamos a demostrar. Esto no es con un presidente, es con un pueblo digno, camarada, que aquí está presente. ¡Que viva la patria de Bolívar!